Hey, this is John from the red corner.
And Daniel from the blue corner.
And we're continuing our top 50 games all time. If you're not familiar with this list, if you're just jumping into it, we've already done 50 down to 21.
That's right.
Wow.
That's how numbers work.
That's how it works. This is going to be 20 through 11. So we're getting into the rubber's meeting the road.
That's
here.
right.
We're getting into the good crunchy games that maybe you might remember playing.
That's right. These games are like almost good.
Almost good.
Yeah, these are like the one. I mean, because top 10 is the best, right?
Top 10 is the best.
All these other ones can be ignored, but this one is almost good.
True. And a funny thing about this list is I'm bad at making lists. Daniel begged me to make this list months ago.
I did.
And so I made this list months ago. And so it's kind of a journey of discovery for me to see what was on my list. A lot of times I feel like, oh, wow, look what's on there.
It's kind of like when you discover that game you like all over again. It's been
it
2
is.
years
It's
since I played this.
I really like
I do
this much.
game.
Maybe I should play it again. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Exactly.
So we'll go ahead and dive into it, I guess,
Let's do it.
with number 20. All right, number 20 on my list was a game I had to talk our good friend, young Chris Thomason, into playing.
Young Chris Thomason.
Yes.
He's never heard that one before, ever.
He's a youngster. And that game is Picture Perfect. Picture Perfect took the...
Friends edition, right?
Friends edition? Oh, that's what it should be. Yes, they missed the mark on that. We'll get into that. But Picture Perfect was took Gen Con by storm a few years ago, and it's a different kind. Things like that draw me to a game where it's different kind of mechanics, different kind of things going on, something out of the ordinary. Picture Perfect is that you use your phone, which is cool, and the way you do that is you got this little diorama that you set up. It's a party from Victorian England or whatever.
Because there's cameras in Victoria, England.
Okay, see now you're getting too far. Maybe it's a little later than that.
Okay,
Maybe it's 1800s. Gotcha. But you're setting up for a photo with all these people in your party. You want them all to be happy. This person doesn't want to be next to this person. This person wants to be on the end of a table. This person doesn't want to be near this. But you don't know any of that. That's hidden information. And you can place anybody you want to. You can place nobody if you want to. You're not going to win. And you can place just a few people.
So wait, you can choose not to play the game if you want to.
You can take up space at the table and not play the game. Yes.
Right.
And you won't hinder anyone by doing that. That's what's cool. But you get packets of information that have different people in them and what they want. And so then you know that. And you're trying to hide that information as long as you can. But then once you get rid of a packet, you don't have access to it anymore. So you have to remember, what does he want again? I put him here for a reason. Why did I put him there? And then at the very end of the game, you decide where you want everybody at. You can put more people in if you want to, even though you're not sure what they want. You're just like, well... But if I put them in right, I'm going to get points. Yeah. And then you take a picture with your camera, click, and that's how you score. It's like if you can see someone's face, if you can do this, if this person's looking at this person. So
what prevents somebody from being stupid about taking a picture? They're like, oh, look at that. I these two are next to each other because when you
next to each other goes by the grid on the board.
Oh, okay.
It's just a matter of whether you can see them. Like sometimes people are hidden, some people are this, some people are that.
Sure.
So the angle means a little something. Most of it doesn't mean anything, but some of it does. If you can be hidden somewhere in the picture, then that's great. But it has to be possible to be hidden. Okay. So great game. And then the cool thing about it is then you flip your board over and that's how you keep score at the end of the game, and then you find out who wins it. Great game. Picture Perfect. Highly recommend it. Deserving of a top 20 nomination. Oh, but what we meant to mention earlier is when this game came out, I said it really lends itself to an IP. I can imagine Picture Perfect Friends Edition. If you go back and watch when we talked about this game on the show, Chris argued against that vehemently, and then later on said, they should make a Friends Edition of this, as if he thought of it. It's like it sunk in. Old man initially rejected it, but then later on he's like, that'd be a great idea.
Well, John, when it's your idea, it's just a lot less exciting.
That's true.
So
that's true.
I mean, it's only fair. I actually never played this game, but I kind of like those like deduction games.
Yeah,
not deduction
the hidden
games,
knowledge,
but
hidden information type thing.
Yeah, or what is that actually called? Like Decorum is kind of like that, where you're gonna find out what somebody else, or Dimensions. There's a certain name for it. Sorry, I totally derailed that.
That's all right.
That was no new information. Okay, well, I'll give you new information for my number 20.
Let's do it.
All right, so my number 20 is in the realm that a lot of board gamers don't go down, and that is like collectible card games or stuff like that. And while this is technically collectible, it's the least collectible of all collectible card games, and that is KeyForge. KeyForge is it is collectible because each deck you buy is completely unique from all the others, and you don't know what it's going to be when you buy it.
True.
But the cards can't be mixed and matched like you could with a Magic or a Pokemon or a Yu-Gi-Oh. Instead, you are stuck with that deck and those 40 cards in those decks. But they have an algorithm that runs to make sure your deck actually works. It may not be good, but it at least works. But what makes KeyForge a little more exciting than some of these other games is twofold. One, you don't have to worry about deck building. You get a unique deck without actually deck building. And for someone like me, where deck building was actually my least favorite, which I know I'm in the minority of collectible card game people who don't like deck building, but hey, it is what it is. I just don't enjoy that part of these games. And then the actual gameplay itself. So, some Magic has like you have 20 health and you just got to deal enough damage to get 20 health. Well, KeyForge, you have to forge 3 keys, and each key consists of 6 shards, and you have 3 factions in your deck, and on your turn you decide which faction you're going to activate, and that faction that is activated can attack. You can play any cards you want of that faction, or you can discard those cards to get new cards as well. So it's a really interesting game because your opponent can see that you have a bunch of the same like faction out there, but they're not very cohesive. Yeah. So or they can't get the goal of getting shards. So I know my opponent's not going to choose to attack me next turn, which then gives me some flexibility of what I can do.
Yeah.
So it's a really unique play style, and it's not just a gimmick. It actually works really well. One of my favorites. I love KeyForge. I wish I could play it more. I bought so much of it, and I always want to say like, hey, let's get together and do a KeyForge tournament. Because that's what's great about it. You just open a deck and you play. It doesn't even matter. It doesn't have to be your deck. It doesn't have to be something you put a lot of thought into. But KeyForge, love it.
It's funny when you first said it's the least collectible of collectible card games.
Yeah.
Like, okay, so this one is worthless, is what you're saying. No, that's not what you meant. Okay, then I realized what you meant when you said KeyForge. But yes, kind of in that same thing. This is what why it appeals to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not. It's not going to be a lifestyle game for me. I'm not going to sit here and work on collecting. That's what I'm saying. So this is just like you're saying, just know the rules. Open up a pack and there you go. You're ready to go. You already have your deck. So,
I mean, you probably don't want to join a tournament because there is knowledge
I'm sure.
of the cards that help you play the game better.
True.
But yeah, anybody can bust up in a deck and play.
Let me ask you this question: have you come across overpowered or underpowered decks in your?
Yes, 100%. There was actually, when it first came out, there was a method that people wanted to try, which is where you traded decks with your opponent. So you would actually find your worst deck. Well, they got rid of that eventually because some of the 2 worst decks playing against each other meant these games could last for hours because there wasn't enough good synergy to actually like propel your deck.
I got a shard.
It's like, exactly. Like it all works and the combos work, but the combos don't win you the game. And then you're sitting there going, this was a horrible idea.
Okay. And this is why Chris doesn't like it.
Well, yeah, but he
wants control over his deck.
It is true, but again, once you have a bunch of decks, you see what you have in there. You can, if you know the game, you can be like, I want to play this game.
Yeah.
This deck,
it's fine. Yeah. So. It's just a different way to do it. I gotcha.
For sure.
Cool.
Yep. But that was my number 20.
Sweet.
KeyForge. All right, so if you haven't picked up on this, we're actually recording in my studio, my game room, my basement. And this game behind us, if you haven't noticed, it's behind John as well, not Dinogenics, but the other ones. That's my number 19 game.
Oh, really? Okay.
It is Marvel United.
Okay.
So Marvel United is just a fun little 30-minute puzzly game with Marvel-themed characters. I will say, if you buy just the base set, you're initially going to think that maybe this game doesn't have much to offer, but it is incredible how much design space is in this very simple game. Essentially, you're just playing down a card and you're resolving 2 symbols. Those 2 symbols are either going to like thwart the villain's their plan, it's going to attack the villain, or it's going to let you move. That's it. That is it. And this game is vastly different every single time you play it. There are hundreds of different villains, and the villains are what really changes it, because then one goal you might be trying to save somebody, one goal you might be just attacking somebody, one goal you need to duel, like with Gladiator, you need to go to a duel, and they introduce kind of a fun little duel mechanic in it. Actually, that one wasn't fun at all. I didn't like it. But
someone might think it's fun.
Exactly. But the things you can do with this game, it is just incredible. And yes, I am a Marvel-phile. So of course I'm gonna love it, but I've played this even with our friend Ryan Evans, who didn't even know who Iron Man was, and he actually said he really enjoyed the game. He said he didn't have to go out and buy it, but he's happy to play it anytime I wanted to. And the reason this one is probably as high as it is because it is very simple, but I play this game all the time because it plays really well solo as well. And then maybe it would be higher if I could get more people to play it, but it kind of requires me to pack up a lot of stuff to get it played, which is a little bit of its downfall. But Marvel United, love it, and it's a great one.
some evidence I'd like to submit to the court real quick.
Ooh, okay.
Is much like I have a hunch that much like my reaction to Comic Hunters, where I'm like, if this was any other theme, I would not be interested in this game at all. Same here. If this was any other thing but Marvel, you would have got that base set and you'd have said, I'm done with this.
Yes, the base set.
There's no way you would have played it again.
Unfortunately, doesn't do the game a lot of favors. But once you're finally into it, there's a lot there. But yeah, I would not have gotten into it.
Yeah.
And unlike Comic Hunters, I will agree with you. The theme really saves the day on this game. But the theme works really well, and I think even if you don't like Marvel, this is a game you will at least tangentially enjoy. You'll go kind of like, again, our friend Ryvan. He'll say, "Sure, I'll play it," because it's not a bad game by any means.
Yeah, but, it's and I do like Marvel.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you've bought all this stuff because I don't have to buy any of it now. I had the base at one point. My kids talked about getting some other stuff, but they moved on, and it's like, well, I'm not going to play this by myself.
Yeah.
So I got rid of my stuff.
That's fair.
But I would play it with you. Yeah, it is a fun game.
Of the
co-ops, it's one of the very few ones that I like. So.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I need to just have Marvel United.
Yeah, you need to have it here. Yeah, exactly.
That's fair.
Cool.
What's your number 19?
My number
John?
19 is nothing like that one.
No, okay.
Surprising. This is another one that has to be on my list because it's had so many plays and it's a family-ish game, but it's enjoyed by so many people that are in my game group, and that is Takenoko.
Oh,
yes.
Okay.
So
yeah,
it's one of those games that there's, how do you describe it? As in, well, what you're doing is you're growing food to feed to pandas, and that's how you're basically
you're not really feeding the panda. The panda steals the food.
Oh, the panda steals the food. That's right. My bad.
Yeah.
You're trying. That's right. But it comes with this really cool modular board. You're setting up the board as you go, and you're trying to grow all these different bamboo, and you're trying to meet goals by growing different types of bamboo in different places and what have you. And yeah, you have your gardener there doing that, and yes, you're having the panda come and eat it every once in a while. But it looks so good on the table. It plays quickly. It offers some pretty fun little choices to make and some good paths to go. You can go different ways each time, and so it's quick. So it's like for what it is, it's just almost a perfect game for that type of a environment. You know, for people that fairly new to games and or just not real deep into it. You want to have a casual time. You're talking while you're playing, all that kind of stuff, but you still have some good decisions to make. That's why it's so high on my list. Is Takenoko, however you want to call it, offers a lot with that. It rarely gets turned down. These people will play this over and over, so you always have something you can get people to play. And then, okay, well now let's play this. But not that it's not a good game, but it is a fun game, and it gets people into gaming that way. So have you ever even played it?
Yeah, I played it. I dismissed it pretty quickly. Wow. I remember the end game was not very fulfilling when you could just draw a card and already meet like a goal card at the end and already have met the condition, while you could draw the end card and not meet the condition, and I just won by 10 points. When I was even taught the game, the person who taught it said, we play to where if you draw a card and you already have it resolved, you discard it and draw a new one.
Oh, okay.
Because
that's one way to do it.
Yeah. So, but it was fine.
I think they changed that rule with the Chibis expansion.
Oh, did they?
Yes.
Okay.
Because of that, I think that's fun. I don't really care. It's for as short as a game as it is.
Sure.
It just adds some fun at the end. We're like, all right, let's see what happens.
If you're playing it with people who like it,
people that don't care, then
go for it.
But you can also, the updated rules. I think it's that you have to be able to play it on your next turn or something, so that you can't just it's the last turn. You know.
Fair. Yeah.
I think that's
that helps a little bit, but still, Ticket to Ride does it too, where you can just draw a ticket and be like,
that's true.
I've already accomplished that.
Already did it. Boom.
And it's it's less fulfilling when that happens. But I don't know.
Unlike Ticket to Ride, though, this doesn't have a chance to last an hour and a half. So, there you go. So that's my number 19, Takenoko. All right, we're up to number 18. Number 18 on my list is a game that I haven't played for a while, but it hits a lot of the right cues for me. It's very thematic, and it's Western.
Oh, okay.
And so it's one of my favorite themes. It's not worker placement, which is odd, because usually I like the worker placement games, but it's a fun game. Pioneer Days. My gosh. And it's out of print, so you're not going to be able to get one very cheap, but Pioneer Days is so much. It's a dice, what would you call it?
Is it dice placement?
No. It's almost like, it's not push your luck. You pull out the dice, you roll them, but you don't know what colors are coming out. And the colors all match different things that could happen.
Sure.
So it's like whatever dice doesn't get taken at the end, something bad's going to happen, or something, a track's going to go up and force you to start thinking about things like, hey, there's going to be famine, there's going to be a raid, whatever.
I do like that
and
mechanic.
So, and so Andy loves that mechanic because he loves just burying people with that. He's like, well, I could really use this dice, but if I take this dice...
Yep.
all you people with all these cattle, they're gonna die.
That's right. That's right.
So he'll
I
do
do
that.
like games like that too. Like Azul kind of does that, where it's like sometimes you can be like, oh, if I leave these tiles there, he has to get stuck with 10 of them. I love games like that. Yeah.
And I love the. It's not only is it thematic, it's like you're on a trail and it's going so many days, and you go to these different towns at the end of every day, and these towns want things. And if you have it, you can get a reward, or you can keep it because you're like, nah, I'd rather keep that than get the reward. And it's different each town, and you can pick up people along the way, so you have more settlers with you as you go, and they can provide you with benefits at the end of the game and during game. But you got to keep them alive, because if you don't have medicine and there's there's a plague, then these people are gone. So you're trying to keep them alive too. But yeah, a lot of different things going on, and then also your wagon only holds so much, so you I gotta get another wagon because I need more stuff. So many cool things. It's all thematic. Love Pioneer Days. So yeah, cool. But I don't think you played it, have you?
I've played it once. Yeah, I actually did. I think I played it with you and Andy. It was so long ago, though. I can't give an actual take on it other than I kind of remember like being like a 7. It's fine, like a good. Well, 7 is good. I have so many 7s in this basement, and maybe even on this list, like 7s are. Gotcha. Actually, I don't have 7s on this list. I have 8s. So I purposefully sorted that way.
Gotcha.
But I've just played so many games.
Wow.
I'm kind of a game
guy.
this
is born a 7 on me, so that's why it's on my list. All right. What you got at 18 then, big spender?
All right. Actually, it's funny that you said that, because my number 18 is Castles of Mad King Ludwig. Ooh. And if you have your own copy, you might be thinking, big spender, why is that? Well, because I got rid of my copy and I got the deluxe edition. Really? And it is beautiful. I love Castles of Mad King Ludwig. It is. I've heard some criticisms of the game that are just weird about, like, they don't like the auction part of it, or they don't like how when you build the castle, it doesn't really look like a castle. So what? It's all that is nonsense.
Some of those castles are pretty weird.
Yeah, that's fine. It doesn't
matter. I mean real life ones.
Oh, in real life.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, exactly. That was kind of the point, right?
How does that even it defies gravity? How were those even built?
Exactly. So, and the people who complain about the auction, like, I get it. That's actually one of the reasons I like it a lot, is that on my turn, I get to be the head architect, and I decide how much the rooms are going to cost, and then people who buy them pay me for it. So I have to balance, does John need this, and it's going to give him tons of points, and if it is, he's going to really have to pay it for me, pay me out for it, and then I can leverage that. And then there's also rooms that I want and I buy last, so maybe I need to put it in a way that doesn't cost me an arm and a leg, but
then
that,
again,
that
nobody else will buy it.
Exactly. So I love the balance of that. And then the tile lane of the castle. You're always trying to figure out, you want these 2 rooms to be next to each other because you get an additional bonus, and all the rooms have different bonuses when they're completed. So you're thinking about how you're going to complete the room to trigger those bonuses. And then on top of all of that, it just looks really cool on the table as you're building and fulfilling your castle for the Mad King Ludwig.
There you go.
So really enjoy this one.
For those of us that are the chaff of society that have not seen the deluxe edition, what's the difference between the deluxe edition and the regular edition?
Honestly, there's not a lot. I don't have the colossal edition, so I don't have like the big old tiles, but they have some really cool inserts that are very functional. You can actually the scoreboard is in the middle, and you can take the tiles out and place the inserts on the board, and you can start pulling from the tiles right away.
Okay.
So it packs itself away and puts it away. And then they updated the art on the tiles as well, the actual room, so they look a little bit better.
Okay.
And then it comes with like 3 expansions inside of it.
It's not like big 3D rooms that you're putting out there.
Well, no 3D rooms.
That's what I was wondering.
No, nothing not quite
I'm
that
actually
fancy.
building my
and
castle.
It comes with 20 different player colors.
Does it really?
Yeah, it does.
Okay.
It doesn't play 20, but you could choose
I guess,
any color you want.
Well, it is annoying when you're like, can I be blue? No, you can be hazel, or you can be.
But now you can say, what
aqua.
blue do you want to be?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So. Okay, cool.
Love Castles, Mad King Ludwig.
I bet you do.
All right, so my number 17 is an economic game. It is Prêt-à-Porter. It is about the fashion industry, because some people consider me pretty fashionable.
Yes.
So I really relate with this on the theme level. Actually, no,
your wife was just talking about
I know, right? Like this hoodie is the most fashionable hoodie ever. You know how many compliments I get on this? It's like I'm a model.
From middle-aged men? Probably a lot.
Prêt-à-Porter. It is from middle-aged men, you're right. But this game is really cool because it is a worker placement game where you only get 3 workers for the entire game.
Wow, that's a short game.
Oh, exactly. But no, what you are doing is leveraging the people that you hire and the rooms that you build to actually give you free actions on the board. So all of it, you only have 3 workers, but all of a sudden your the board kind of resolves from top to bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So but I might get a room that says I get to take a free 5 action. And now all of a sudden I get to do more of that. And there's some set collection in that. You're always like building towards the fashion show at the end of the week.
There's
so then when you get there, exactly. And when you get there, you have the line of clothing that you are showing off, which means you discard it and you turn it into money. But every round you're paying money to upkeep all of your stuff. It is a big economic game. At one point, they were going to retheme this into video games, which I thought would be really cool. But there was enough like pushback where they said, no, we want the unique theme of fashion design.
Yeah.
And then they made it, and then it kind of fell off the map again. So it's like I kind of think they should have went with the video games.
This is when they did the redesign of it.
Yeah. But the redesign was great, and it's really good. I have my sister-in-law is actually a fashion designer.
Oh, really?
So I keep wanting to play this game with her, and it's going to happen one day. She likes.
Is she a gamer?
She's not a gamer, but she's played some of these board games, and I've told her about it. And she said she would definitely play it.
That's
so
the heavier one, though, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
She's smart.
There you go.
Actually, it's funny.
I know a lot of smart people that don't like playing.
She's a fashion designer, but she's actually like an accountant on that side.
Oh yeah.
But she loves to be in there doing designs, and she does
likes to get her hands
dirty.
dirty.
Yeah, she's not actually the fashion designer. She works for the fashion designer, but she has doesn't matter. Okay. She'd like this game and she'd be good at it.
Okay. So. I haven't played it, but it's one that when I first saw it on your shelf, I was like, that looks intriguing.
Yeah.
And I think it's because of the unique theme. I'm like, that is so cool. So that is one.
It's a toss up whether you like it or not. Really? I have no idea what games John's are gonna like. It's funny. We tease John about his taste in games. He actually doesn't have bad taste in games. It's just we cannot figure it out. We never know what game John is gonna like. So usually the weirder the game, the more likely he's gonna like it. But then sometimes he likes completely bland and gross games, and you're like, okay.
I'm as confused as you are when I look at my list. I'm like, oh, I didn't. Yes. That was that high on the list. I wonder why. I'll have to think about it. Yeah. Okay. I completely understand. All right. Speaking of that, my number 17. Speaking of weird, this is a game that's very popular with a lot of people. I think you even like it. Ooh. And it's one that gets played a lot, and you can play it up to 99 people.
Ooh.
And probably more. And that game is Welcome To. Because, yes, it's my favorite of the entire verb and verb. Specifically roll and write, verb and verb genre.
Second favorite for me.
Second favorite for you.
Cartographers is the most, and I don't think it's on my top 20. I'm 50, unfortunately.
Yeah, same. But Welcome To, especially, I've got the neoprene mat, which is awesome. It has all the rules that you need to explain the game. You can just point. Helps. Okay, you can do this. You can do this. You can do this. This means this. This means explains all the iconography. Explains everything on the. So I highly recommend getting that, especially if you're teaching it to people, because you just throw it out there. If there's ever, because sometimes I had a question. Wait a minute, how do we? Oh, it says it right there. Oh, that's right. There we go.
I was going to mock that you needed a playmat for that, but if it does have the rules explanation, that is pretty nice.
And I like having a nice little place to put the cards where they belong. And so if you've never played it before, you flip 3 cards, and they're going to be a number, which is an address, and then there'll be an action that corresponds with that, which you can take the number and just forego the action if you want to, but you hate to waste that, because there's so many good actions that you want to do. So you're trying to fill out your addresses from left to right, and if you ever have to start over, you have to. That's kind of a pain, and you can lose points and all that. So there's a lot of different goals of things to do each time, like have so many neighborhoods of 4 houses and things of that nature. And so it's really cool. There's enough ways you can focus too. That's what I like about it. It's like, I'm going all in parks. I don't even care what the numbers are, because you get so many points if I get parks in every neighborhood. I
should kind of care what the numbers are.
You should,
yeah.
But you can care less. Yeah. Usually I'm so number focused that I miss out on some of the other things. But and then there's all the other editions.
That's fair. You want to balance it well.
Yes, and we play the Christmas edition every year, where you're stringing Christmas lights. So that's pretty cool.
Have you played Welcome to the Moon yet?
I've not played Welcome to the Moon.
We need to play that.
Do you own that one?
No, I don't.
Well, that's going to make it tough. But
that's fair. That's fair.
All right. That was my 17.
Fun anecdote about that.
What is?
I've never beat my wife in it, and every time we've played, she's beat me by 1 point.
No way. 100%. Welcome to the Moon?
No, Welcome to.
Oh, okay. I gotcha.
Yeah. Kind of crazy.
Were you guys playing it right?
Yes.
It's our friends the Marshes. They might be watching this, but they might not be. They might have written us off by now. But I remember the first time we played it together, they thought once somebody finished a street, the game was over. It's like, no. You have to finish the whole thing. dang!
Whoa, yeah.
Yeah, that was quite a timer they had on the game. Yep. But, all right. So that was my number 17. Was Welcome To. All right, we're up to number 16. And this one might surprise you. Well, you're surprised a lot.
16 will be surprised.
16 is a surprise. And 16 on my list is an old game. Chris would like. I think Chris does like this game.
Is it Dinogenics?
And you might have this game. No, it isn't.
I did the weird arm thing again.
Sorry. It's an older game, and it's called. Is it The or just Village? The Village.
No, Village.
It's just Village.
Village.
Yes.
Yep. Okay.
And it's just such a unique game. I love that game.
Okay.
It's so cool how you're.
You love murdering people.
They don't murder. They just die. People die.
People die. It happens. Murder.
You're in a village. You go do things and you die, and then you get written about in history. And so that's what you're doing in this game. It's so cool. You're like you can send them out to get influence in the church. You can send them out to learn how to build things. You can send them out to do all these things. Then you can use all that information and use all that knowledge. And then when they die, they pass it on by being written in the history.
Yeah.
And that's like the timer of the game. When there's so many people die, the game is over. And so once again, another one of those games where there's so many different paths you can go because it's got so much FOMO where you're like, gosh, he's been going over on that for so long. He's doing so much with that. Why, but you don't realize, well, you're doing so much with this.
You're doing good too.
Yeah,
John.
exactly. It's like, but you get that, you get that sweat coming down. Am I doing it wrong? Is everybody else doing it right? What's going on? But, so it's got that intensity to it, but it also doesn't play that long. It doesn't overstay its welcome, in my opinion. For an older game, I think it plays really well, and it's one I had to be talked into playing the first time, and then...
Because it looks bland.
It does look bland.
Yeah.
Yes, I had to be talked into it. But sometimes people pound you over the head, and you play something, and you actually like it. And for me, that was Village, and it was good enough to get up to number 16 on my list, so that's pretty impressive. So
that's exciting. Yeah, I owned it once. I parted ways with it, but not
I think I got your copy.
There you go. You're welcome. See, that's why you got to part way with games sometimes, because you may not appreciate it as much as someone else does, and you should just consider that when you want to I should get rid of this game.
That's right.
And then you don't.
Yeah.
Do it.
There's love for that game out there somewhere.
That's right. All right. Well, my 16 is a game that you like, and I don't think it's been on your list. Maybe it has been actually. This could be one of our rare crossovers.
Wow.
That is Lost Ruins of Arnak.
I was on my list.
It already. Was. See, there you go. I like it. So
you didn't like it because it was below
Dune Imperium. This guy, Dune Imperium. Who likes Dune Imperium more than Lost Ruins?
This guy,
and a lot of people on Board Game Geek too. But that's neither here nor there. Lost Ruins is great. It's a deck building game. Chris is an idiot if you hear his take on this game. Just because you put the card at the bottom of your deck and not in the discard pile when you buy a new one does not mean you did not get a deck building game. Also, this card has a lot of drawing mechanics as well, so you do get to go through your deck. Chris, that was all for Chris right there. But no, this is a really cool game. I like the combo of your card has the resource that you place to indicate where your character can go. And that makes the game right there. And unlike Dune Imperium, I feel like you have a lot more flexibility. There's nothing that's actually cut off from you. So if you're like, I need to go to a place where there is a boat, I can pay 2 gold to rent a boat, so that I'm not completely tied to my cards. So there's more flexibility and more, just more opportunities to bust out those combos. And but it's great. I won't go too much into it because it was in our later one,
we did talk about it already once.
But The Last Ruins of Arnak is great.
Yeah, I would agree. It's great. And the more you talk about it, the more I'm like, well, maybe I ranked Dune higher just because I was so surprised I liked it that much. Because I had no expectation to like Dune because no connection to the theme, whereas the theme in Arnak was interesting to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought we won't talk about Dune. Yes, Arnak, a great game. Like it.
All right, so I don't know if 15 will shock anybody out there. If you've watched the show, you won't be shocked. If you listen to my takes on games, it might surprise you. And that is because it's a party game in my top 15. But it is the party game, the greatest party game ever created, and that is Time's Up. It is a wonderfully simple game that brings laughter to everyone who plays. And I got the family edition this Christmas as well, which has opened up the ability to play it with even the youngest of kids. So Time's Up is essentially one of those games where you have a card and you're trying to convince everybody at the table what that card says. Pretty simple, it's pretty basic. If it ended there, this game would be rubbish. It would just be catchphrase or something. But where it gets exciting is that you have all these cards, and then you have round 2. And in the second round, you're using the exact same cards, but now you can only use one word to get your teammate to guess what it is. So if my first word I say is trying to get you to guess what X-Men is, I might say, they were led by Professor X, and there's, mutants and blah, blah, blah. And you go, X-Men, great. So now I go, okay, one word, I go mutants, and you go X-Men, great. But no, that's not it. There's a third round. And the third round, you can't talk at all. You just got to do action. So I might go like this.
Yeah.
And then he goes Superman. I'm like, you're an idiot. That was clearly Cyclops, which is the X-Men. Yes. Superman's not even in the deck.
Even in the list.
And the more you play this game in a row, the more entertaining it gets, because you do get things like that where you're like, Superman's not in there, and John's like, no, it totally is. I'm like, no, that was last game. And then all of a sudden, like, you're like, for Superman, you're like holding a bottle of water, and you're like, why does that mean Superman? And it's like, well, because you weren't here 30 minutes ago. This means Superman. It's just really great inside jokes that form. Yes. You're laughing the whole time. I love it.
I'll agree. It is a great game. Yes. It really is. And the way it can be so fun to explain, you'll have the same cards to do all these 3 things. So you know what they are, kind of, but you have like 12 cards or something. So it's kind of easy to
like
get
40.
Yeah.
It's easy to forget what's in there.
But it can go like this. Like somebody could get Louis Armstrong, and in his mind he's thinking Neil Armstrong. So he's saying he was on the moon, he was doing all this, and then everybody goes, and then they find out who it is. Like, you idiot!
Yes.
But then it could be do the one word. Somebody might say moon. Louis Armstrong. There you go. And then have to do an action. There you go. Moon. Yeah. Okay. Louis. It can be wrong, but you know what they're thinking.
And then the people who walk by are like, "What?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Nah."
Don't worry about it. It is fun. It has that immersive thing where that game becomes so unique.
And you always leave it with stories. I could tell you different stories about funny moments that happen in almost every one of these games I've played. So they're memorable, and anything that fun and that memorable has to be on a top 20 list.
Yes, I'd agree. Very good.
Cool.
That was your what, 16?
That was my 15.
15. Okay. 15 for me is a game that has been featured on our show.
Ooh.
How about that? And I think I'm the only one that liked it, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay.
So surprising. And for me, theme goes a long way.
Okay.
And theme went a long way in this game because most people prefer Clank or its many different varieties, but I love The Hunger. The Hunger is an amazing game. I love how thematic it is because obviously you're going out away from your castle as a vampire. You're going out into the village. You're going out in the forest. You're going out in all these different areas. And the further out you get, the more the people are worth. Because you're going to be feeding on people. Because that's what you do. You're a vampire. You go out all night and you feed on people.
You gotta eat people.
But what happens after you feed? You get kind of slow. And then you got to get back to the castle before sun comes up. So there's different methods to it. And all along the way, you're going by these graveyards that are going to tempt you with these different ways to get points at the end of the game. And so you're like, well, should I try to do a little bit more of this? Should I head back? Here's a hint. I always head back too late. That almost happens almost every time.
And burned up in the sun.
Then you get burned up in the sun, which is thematic. The whole thing is so thematic that I love it. And Daniel hates it because he thinks it's too convoluted. But
yeah, I can't ever remember much about this game. I just remember thinking, like, I don't know why you like this so much. It's a fun game. It's not bad,
all the people in it are hilarious. The ones that you get, they're thematic as well.
Some give you heartburn. That's
some
fun.
give you heartburn. Yeah. Yes,
I related with that.
Yes, it's everything about it is thematic. I love the art. The art is just on that line of it's cartoony, but it's also a little edgy without going over the top either way.
Sure.
And so the presentation is beautiful. I haven't gotten the expansion yet, but I want to get that one. But I think that one allows you to hunt other vampires or something.
Ooh,
so
fun.
Should be pretty cool. But The Hunger, that's number 15 on my list. All right, 14 on my list. We're kind of continuing a theme with 14 because this is one that was higher probably on my list a couple years ago.
Okay.
But I got it strictly for theme, and it doesn't disappoint. Might be the best thematic game in my collection, and that is Abomination: The Heir of Frankenstein.
Nice. Okay.
Wow. You talk about dripping with theme. And unlike The Hunger, where I'm saying it doesn't go over the top, this one probably does go over the top with the artwork.
Yes.
Most definitely goes over the top. You got to have
You have cards of dead people.
Yeah, unless you're like watching The Walking Dead on a regular basis, this stuff's probably going to shock you because, you might turn something. That person doesn't have a lower face. What is going on? What are you showing me here? It's like, well, they died. Something happened to them. What do you want? And so it's oh my gosh, amazingly thematic once again. You're going all over Paris, trying to do things, dig up bodies out of it. You can do safe things that don't hurt your humanity, like dig up dead bodies.
Yeah, that's fine. Everyone's cool with that.
Everybody's good with that. But you're only going to get like bones and stuff. You're not going to get very good, raw materials for making a monster, and that's what it is. Frankenstein's monster, the Abomination, is basically holding you hostage, making you do this, or he's going to come and kill you. And so he wants a companion. He wants the Bride of Frankenstein. So that's what you're trying to do, is make a monster as you go. And then there's the new Igor variant, not new anymore. It's been around a while, which is a must play. Otherwise, this game is going to last 4 hours. So it says 60 minutes on the box.
Yeah, I don't know who played it in 60 minutes.
I don't know who played it in 60 minutes.
Yeah, that was my problem because of the length. And then again, dice rolling, pressure luck. This came up in our last show. Like, you can't, to bring them back to life, you had to roll like electricity dice. But like if you rolled poorly, you can mitigate it, which is a plus. But man, after 3 hours and you lost because your dice roll just sucked, like that doesn't feel great. But yeah, with the get it down to an hour and a half.
Yeah, and it adds more mitigation too. Yeah. And so that makes, and actually what's great about the Igor variant is there's so many. You're building up these dials of your your reputation, your professionalism, whatever, and you get points for that. For having, when you play the full version, everybody's gonna have those maxed out. I mean, so what's the point? Everybody getting 60 points is like nobody getting 60 points. But with the shorter version, you can be like, well, I'm just gonna bring as much to life on my monster as I have to get these other goals done. Yeah. And because there's also different goals to do around the board, and so you're like, well, I'm just gonna do that, and then somebody else can bring the guy to life. I don't need that those extra points. I'm getting points this way, and so the game's gonna end sooner. Then it makes a difference if you actually focused on that. You're gonna be the only one with that instead of, well, I got nothing else to do. I'm going to get that dial up. That's what it ends up being if you play the long version. So, yeah, definitely play the Igor variant. Highly recommended.
Cool. This has one of the best quotes I've ever had in board gaming. I love board gaming quotes out of context, and this was my favorite one was, well, I guess I have to kill somebody because I don't want to waste my ice.
Yeah, I don't have any ice. I can't keep my stuff fresh.
I have to murder someone.
Yes.
So
that's almost as good as when I was playing at our church group with my pastor, and we'll talk about a game later where he's like, I got to get me some narcotics. And so we'll talk about that game later. But.
We will indeed. All right. So yeah, my number 14 is a engine building game that's very popular, and I really enjoy this. Not my favorite engine building game, but it is a top 20, and which means it's incredible, and that is Terraforming Mars. Love Terraforming Mars. Have you played that? What's your take on Terraforming Mars?
I've played it several times.
Okay, do you like it?
Haven't we talked about it on the show?
I don't know.
Go ahead and give your take.
I don't watch the show. I just like what I'm asking because I think it's super thematic. You're playing over generations, and every generation you're bringing more oxygen into Mars by hitting it with meteors or planting plants or putting domes over buildings, and you're melting ice caps to bring in the water, and it's just super thematic. And ultimately, what you're doing is, on your turn, you get 2 actions. You can play a card, which, you purchase stuff. You can activate actions. And all of these make incredible combos. Combos are the key word. Everything about engine building is about combos. And you get some of the best combos in Terraforming Mars. Also, with the 2 action thing, it's just enough time for you to actually feel like you're doing something. But it is, because I hate when you get 1 action and then I have to wait John to take 30 minutes to take his 1 action because he sucks. But at least I get 2. It feels like I actually got to do something on my turn. So, yeah, Terraforming Mars, it's great.
Terraforming Mars needs an Igor variant.
It kind of does. Have you played with the Prelude?
That does help.
Yeah, because then it gives you a little bit of a focus because your corporation might generate energy faster. So you're like, okay, I guess I'm going energy, and then also gives you some cards to start with and all that stuff. So
I wouldn't say I don't like Terraforming Mars, but I wouldn't really say I like it. I'm kind of meh on it. I'll play it, but it's such a long commitment when you do.
It really is. It's a 3-hour game regardless. I played it online with Randy and Andy, and it takes 3 hours. I played it with
online
Chris.
Even?
Online. 3
my
hours.
word. Seriously?
Played it with my wife. Took 3 hours. Played it with 5 people. Took 3 hours. This game takes
3 hours.
3 hours. Don't let anybody tell you differently. It doesn't take 6 hours. It takes 3.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah. No matter what. What I think the parts that I don't like about that game is okay, I've got this card I've been trying to play for multiple turns here now because I've been planning this, man. I'm building towards it. The oxygen can't be above whatever when I play this card, and now Daniel went blump 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 blump. I'm moving that oxygen up. Okay, this one's trash now. There goes the whole. There goes my 15 turns I've been putting into this game.
You should have been quicker.
There you go.
Should have been more efficient, or should have got rid of that a long time ago.
Yeah, well, there is that. Yeah, so that's what makes me shy away from those now. It's like, nope, I don't want those long-time commitment cards.
All right. I mean, it's fair, and you do got to build to the long-term commitment cards when you got them, but when they pay off, they're really good.
That's true.
So there you go.
I probably need to give it another try.
Yeah,
to be honest,
for sure. All right, my 13 is finally I can say this. John does not like this game. This is probably the first one on the list that John was just like,
really?
Why?
Okay.
And that is Heat. Pedal to the metal.
Oh, yeah.
I still don't know how you don't like this. This, guys, is one
it.
of the best racing games out there. I really enjoy Snow Tales, which isn't on this list, which is a shame. I almost feel like it's an oversight because Snow Tales is great. But Heat surpassed Snow Tales for me. I love that you have to manage your heat as a resource because you're racing. You're going through corners, and if you go too fast past the corner, you have to burn heat. So it doesn't mean you can't do it. It's just you have to have that resource to do that. And then there's also a lot of like ways that you can cool it so you can get your heat back into the engine. There's some drafting mechanics, which is really cool. Like when you're behind the players, there's unique cards that after every round you get to add to your deck to make your car run differently than everybody else's. Randy has even created a campaign mode for this. Oh yes, so we have made it to where you can buy sponsors, and that gives you money to actually buy the cards. And then it's a whole thing. Randy came up with it, and it's been working out fairly well. We only did 2 races, but it's been fun. But anyways, Heat, Pedal to the Metal, great racing game, and it has a lot of potential to be like a campaign or like a campaign game or a tournament game. And I'm excited to see what they do moving forward with it.
Okay. Where do I start?
Yeah.
For what it
is,
we
did do a full review on this one, by the way. But
just to hit the highlights, for what it is, it's too long. No. In my opinion, it's a racing game that takes 3 hours.
It does not take 3 hours.
With 6 players, it'll take 3 hours.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
We play this on our Monday nights, and we get 2 games of it in. We only play for 4 hours.
They play till midnight on Monday nights.
Yeah. But we start at 9.
Well, it has the potential to go for 3 hours. The iconography is all over the board, and to me, it's like I don't want to stop the game or show everybody what cards I have to find out what the iconography means. And so if I don't know what it means, I'm just going to not play it. And maybe I'm the only one that does it that way because I was just like, whatever. I know if I care enough at this point. And so, I don't know. It's just, like I said, it was diminishing returns. First time I played it, loved it. Couldn't get enough. This is a great game. Ever since then, it's just been more meh than the first one. And I don't know why that is. But I just have not. It's just been less and less enjoyment every time.
That's fine. Every game's not for everybody.
Maybe I'll try it one more time.
If you like
another try, but
if you do like racing games, though, this one is top notch. I do think this could very well be the best racing game you will play.
If you like really auto racing games,
or dog racing games.
No. Because it's so auto focused. It's like with all the different things. Yeah, you have to like auto racing. All right. Yes, you're right. I did not like that game. Number 13 on my list is a game you do like.
Yay!
You broke your personal rule about this game, but then you reneged.
Oh, I know what it is. I thought it was your number 1 game.
No.
I'm actually shocked.
But it is my most played game from a couple years ago. And that is It's a Wonderful World. Because this game is a wonderful game.
It is.
And you play in this amazing future set before you where everything is perfect.
Dystopian.
And I don't even know what you're talking about. But great engine builder. Oh, and it's so wild how there's only 4 rounds of drafting. When you draft, it's not like, oh, I got this card now. No, it's like, okay, I have these cards. Now what am I going to do with them?
How do I build it?
Some of them you're going to keep just for what you can recycle them for. Because you're like, well, I want to build this card because they all have a cost that you can build. And they have one thing you can get if you recycle it. So you're like, well, okay, I can generate these, but I can't generate this. So I got to keep these cards just to get rid of them so I can build this. You might only build 1 card on your round because you're like, okay, there you go. And then I'm going to build this one at some point. And the decisions you make with that are huge because once you decide not to recycle it, you can never recycle it again for that one thing. You just get like a random wild for it or whatever. Isn't that what it is? Yeah. So it's and then it goes so quick. 4 rounds of doing that, and then you're adding up the points. So you got to get an engine going. Hopefully by the end of your 2nd round, you got a pretty good engine going. If not, you're going to be in trouble because 3rd round, then definitely the 4th round, you're just wanting to build all the cards you have. And it's so hard to plan that exact. I've had it both ways where I've got all these cards I can't build and where I'm like, we're halfway through the 4th round and I built all my cards. And I'm like, well, now I'm going to get all these resources. I can undo with them. I got rid of too many cards. It
doesn't happen very often, though. Well,
no, it can happen, though. But, yeah. So, yeah, it's a wonderful world. What is your take on that game?
Yeah, I really like the part where, like, let's say you're building 3 cards. Well, when you're generating the resources, you generate, like, the grays first, and then the blacks, and then the yellows, and so forth. So what that means is I have these 3 cards I'm building. I regenerate the gray resources, which then immediately finishes this card, which then goes into the row. So now, if that had a green on there, when I get to resolving green, I get to resolve the card I just finished. And that's really fun. Again, combos, that's what these are all about. And it's a wonderful world. Does tons of combos, and it's very satisfying when it works out.
One thing I will say is, man, you got to watch the teach on this game, because it's better, I think, with people that are not into modern games.
Yeah,
because you give somebody, here's your starting empire, so they start grabbing resources. No.
Yeah.
Quit grabbing your resources. And then they build their cards. Do I get the resources? No.
Yeah.
Just chill. I'll tell you when you get your resources.
You have to untrain yourself in this game, for sure.
It usually is half the game. Yeah. Before some people get it, and they're like, "Oh, you mean I can put it over here, and now I get it when I get the."
Well, I think Andy had a hard nose on this one, because he was like, "What? I don't get this game. It's so stupid," and he was just arguing the whole time. And it's like, it's because you're not doing anything right, Andy.
Exactly.
Actually, the example you gave was 100% Andy.
Wasn't just him though. There's been many people.
No, it's been
But then again, he's like, and then we played it again another time when he understood it. He's like, "Oh, I do kind of like."
Oh yeah, he's like, "Oh yeah, that is fun."
So there you go. It's a wonderful world. That is my number 13. We're already up to number 12 on this list. 13 is so yesterday.
That's so yesterday.
My gosh.
Garbage. The garbage.
This is the good games now.
This is the good game.
Number 12 is a newer game on my list. I don't know. I think you've played it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you played it. But it was my number 2 game I wanted at Gen Con 2 years ago and made sure I got it. Still don't have the expansion for it, and that's really gnawing at me. But World Wonders is my number. Yeah. Yes, very good. I love these games that take a different take on the polyomino thing, because where it's not all about just fill up your board and you're good.
Sure.
You know, this is,
you will never fill up your board in that.
You're not going to fill up your board in World Wonders, but it's more about what's adjacent to what, and than it is about just filling up spaces. And you're trying to meet different requirements where you can get these cool wonders and put them on your board, and then those will give you more points, and they'll help your civilization expand in different areas, because that's what it is. You build different things, they're going to help you expand in different areas. You want your areas to be up there, because I think you only count your lowest of the areas. Yeah, so that, and then there's other ways. Then you count your gold and all that you get at the end of the game. And so, but so many different ways, once again, to go in this game. That's what I like about it. You can be like, well, I'm just going to get a bunch of little buildings, and because you get points for buildings that are surrounded. Yeah. Little buildings are easy to surround themselves with stuff, and so boom, I'm going to get points with that. And then if I can happen to get a wonder because of what I built, I'll go ahead and get it. Yeah. What's cool about the game, every round you start with 7 gold, and the wonders always cost whatever gold you have left. So you're only going to get 1 per round, if that. And so I've had people be like, their first turn, I really want that. Yep. I might want that too, but nope, I'm going to go ahead and spend it all and get that wonder. And then Daniel's over there, what are you doing?
Why would you do that?
I was about to get my second turn, and I thought I would be able to get it with spending 5, but you spent all 7. And so it's ideally you want to get all the way down to 1, and then I'm going to take that wonder, and then that's beautiful, but that rarely happens.
Yeah, because the game does a really good job. Those wonders are so important, and they're not like all equal either. You do have wonders that you want to get. Yeah, and because of that, you're constantly going, do I tank my turn so I can get that? Is this the time? Is this the time? And there will be, almost every time, there will be at least one round where you will do it first thing or second thing. Yeah, because you're just like, I gotta have that wonder.
Yeah, so it's like I've been building up. When will this ever happen again? I got the perfect storm right here. It's like because they have to be wonders. If you haven't played, it's like it'll be this wonder has to be next to water and next to this building, and this one has to be this and has to be over water, and so if you have the perfect spot for it, but you're looking over and say, well, Steve's got the perfect spot too. And he's going to go ahead of me. If he doesn't take it, I got to take it, because he'll take it his next turn. Yep. So it's that kind of thing that you're looking at. So everything's open information. But yes, World Wonders, if you haven't played it, amazing game.
Yeah, I agree. Cool. Could be on my list if I played it more, actually. There you go. Yeah, it is a good game. All right, well, my number 12 is an oldie but a goodie. But this one is, I would say, a niche game. Only very specific people would like this game. And I say that because I've tried to play with different people, and it's been loved and hated by so many. And that is...
Left-footed kite makers.
They
who likes
love
it?
this
Okay.
game. Left-footed kite makers. But the game is Seasons. This is a really popular game online because you can play it on Board Game Arena, and I think that's where a lot of its legs.
One of the early ones,
wasn't it?
It was,
yes, and I think that's where it got so much like momentum for how popular this game is. But I love playing it in person. The theme of this 10 has been combos, and Season is another one of those combo games. It gives you the feel of playing a game like Magic. It has nothing to do with Magic, but it feels that way. The reason you like Magic is because you're like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then that's going to trigger this, and that's going to trigger that, and then like, you love that, and that's what Season does. And you essentially roll the dice every round. You guys then draft the dice. Everybody takes one dice, and then you resolve the action on your dice, which gives you energy, and you use that energy to play your cards, or you use those energy to generate crystals, and then you spend crystals to play more cards, and then you can spend this terraform this stuff, and you can change this energy into that energy so that you can then change it into crystals. Like, there's just so many fun combos. In the whole game, you can only play like 15 cards as the max cards, but you're going to get those slowly as the game goes. You start off with 9, and you go in age 1, I'm going to have these 3, age 2, I'm going to have these 3, and age 2. Did I skip age 2? You know what I'm saying. Each age, you get 3, and you get those for sure, but you're like, okay, well, I need to start building them. And then if you get too many cards, like, you can only play 15 of them. So you also got to like balance how much card draw you're going to get. But then the fact that you get to draft those 9 cards at the beginning gives you a vision for all your plays that you have in the future. Because I need to build towards this card here. So how am I going to get my engine so that when age 3 comes, I can play this card right away? So yeah, Season's a great game. There is a little bit of take that in it, which I think is where some people hate it. And then also there's a lot of like, just you need to do the combos, and if you don't know the combos, some people feel like, oh well, if I knew that was in there, I'd have done this differently. You're like, yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, there's always things like that.
But it's a great game. Love it. It's been on my list since I played it, actually.
Wow. Yeah. I know you really love this game, and I've never played it. Mostly because it looks so themeless when I look at it.
Yeah,
and
it's themeless.
It really does nothing for me when I look at it.
But it's pretty.
But I guess. I mean, yeah, it's colorful.
It's right behind you.
No,
look how pretty.
Why is it behind you?
Look how pretty this is. Actually, I guess there would have been a picture there, but this game is so pretty.
Yeah, they've already seen it.
I love it.
Gosh. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you go ahead and do your number 12.
All right.
Well, I'm just going to
You do that. You have your moment. I've already done my 12, so.
All right. My number 11 is probably the
last one on the list.
It is the last one on the list.
Oh my gosh.
So it better be the best one on the list.
Well, so far, yes.
So far. So this is the newest game on my list. Sorry, I'm going to restart. I got so much dust from that game on my
that game you love. And curate and care for.
Nobody else wants to play it with me. That's why. All right. All right, so we are ready for our number 11. It is the best game on this list.
On this list.
And it's the newest game on this list for me. Not just this list, but all 50 of them.
Oh, for real? This is the newest game on your
24 release.
Oh, man.
This is Slay the Spire. Slay the Spire, the board game. Because the video game's great, too.
There you
go.
The
board game is absolutely fantastic. They adapted a deck building dungeon crawl game on the computer into a board game, and they succeeded wildly. Okay. Most people dismissed this game when it was on Kickstarter because they're like, there's no way this is going to be as good as the video game, and I guarantee you it is. What it brings, I'm going to show you some examples. Well, first of all, this game is, you are a hero going up a dungeon and you're fighting these monsters. After every room, you get to put a card into your deck, and the battles take like 5 minutes. So it's these little quick battles that you're doing, but after every battle, you get to add a card to your deck, which gives you more powerful and all that stuff. And then you have to go through 3 levels and a lot of fun stuff there. But I'm going to edit this out because I forgot where I was going with this. Oh, yeah. Okay, so yeah, this is exactly how they adapted it to a video game and a board game. That just shows how incredible they are. One, the video game, solo, This game, multiplayer, and it works so well. When you are in there with your opponent, with your allies, they have a row of villains that attack them, but you're allowed to attack anybody you want. So you're going, okay, you're going to defend yourself, so we don't need to kill your people, but I have no defense, so let's kill mine. And then the other way they adapted this that just makes it work is that in the video games, you're doing hundreds of damage sometimes. Hundreds. Here, you will never do more than 10 because, like, that's kind of, like, that's how much health you have. So it was amazing that they were able to get the same feel and just pare it down. And it was an impressive feat. This was, like, whether you like it or not, like, I still think it's worth, like, applauding what they did because what they did was really just unprecedented, I believe.
Okay. Slay the Spire. I never played the video game. I'm not into those, like, Final Fantasy type games.
There's nothing like Final Fantasy.
It's like
they're called roguelite.
Okay.
Yeah. You don't even know what this game is. It's deck building. This is a deck
I played the
game.
game. I haven't played the video game.
Yeah,
okay. I haven't played the video game.
You do some like fantasy stuff.
No.
Not Final Fantasy.
But I will say this. I played Slay the Spire with you, and it was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
So it must be one of the better ones of this type because, I have no interest in this type. And I still enjoyed it for 2/3 of the game. And then it was getting late, and I mercifully had to leave because 2/3 was enough. I was like, yeah, it was fun, but I think I'm done. That's pretty good. Man. The cool thing is you can do that, though,
you
right?
can.
Say that. Yeah, you can. Somebody can just leave or come in, and
that's true.
The game adjusts for it.
You just set the board up differently on the next hand.
So that's kind of cool. Yeah. Because, somebody can come in, too, right? You just it's just more difficult then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, you'd probably want them to buy some cards first. Like, here's 3 cards
Well, if you're coming in to the end of the game.
Yeah, but otherwise, you can jump right into it. That's a good point.
So that is a really good part of the game.
Yeah.
Because that'll happen if I'm one of the players. Oh, you want to come on in? You can take my spot.
I'm out. Peace.
All right.
Yours better be better than mine.
You're not going to think so. My number 11 is one. It's another one of those where the theme got me, and I looked at it. I think this is one of the biggest successes of a math trade for me ever.
Okay, cool.
Because I don't know about you out there, but I think we've talked about this before. To me, the math trade is like the oasis in the desert.
Yeah.
It's the mirage that you're like, oh, look at these great games.
Yeah.
And that's two-part. Because you're trying to get these great games, and in your mind, you're thinking, oh, I'm going to get that one, or I'm going to get that one. And then, no, I got that one.
Yeah.
And I had to give up that one?
Yeah.
Why did I even put that on there? What made me think that? Why was I even willing to do that? But oh well. The other part is, I did get the game I wanted, and it's going to be amazing. And then either you never play it or it's not amazing.
Yep.
So this one blew that out of the water because not only did I get the game I wanted for what I wanted to trade for it, I thought it was amazing. That game is nothing personal, and it's a game designed by one Mr. Tom Vassell, who's been on this show.
Yeah, thank you, Tom.
Two funny things about that is I always thought Tom hated Take That.
Yeah.
And I know he hates bad rule books. And this one has both of that in spades. So that's a little, but it's a quality game. Yeah. It's a high quality game. And the components are amazing, at least with the original version. They came out with the second version, but the first one you got an actual Godfather ring if you're the capo. And so it's basically this hierarchy of gangsters with the capo at the top, his underbosses, all this stuff. And if you're at the top, you're trying to hold on to your power. And there's different rounds of this game where you're playing cards for different actions, and you can always play them to just get influence or whatever, and you're putting influence on different people, or you're fighting for influence on different people. If people have too much influence on them, in a certain round of the game, the FBI comes in because you're busted. Like, there's been too much going on, you're going to prison. And then there's other cards that allow you to bust people back out of prison. Now you have control of them. Boom, they're down here. Then there's all these other people that are just trying to get their foot in the door. Maybe you'll put some influence on them so that when they do come in, now I've got them, and every spot has an action they can do. So a lot of stuff to think about. Where this game really shines, in my opinion, is when you play at the maximum count of 5 players, and it turns into like a what is that game? Survive? Is that the game? No, Survive. What is Survivor?
Survivor
on TV.
Yeah,
where you have these different factions fighting against each other, because it almost always breaks down to 2 people versus 3 people, but that one person's kind of swinging back and forth, and they're like. Because then you're like, well, why are you staying with them? Come on over here, and look, you can get up here, and we'll help you do this. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, heck with this guy, and so that's where the game really shines, because there's a lot of table talk, there's a lot of messing with people. Yes.
Yeah.
Really cool game. Lasts a little long.
Yeah.
But I've never had people say this game's taken forever because every round is so fun. Yeah. So nothing personal. Have you ever even played it?
I played it when it first came out, and I remember enjoying it, but I remember it being long, and that's why I never really came back to it. Yeah. So. But no,
to me, once again, it's the gangster theme. So, and it's so immersive into the gangster that it's so great.
You know, we like to call you Cult of the New, but I realize, man, you don't have you like old games.
I do have some old games on my list. Yep.
You need to modernize. I want to see you try better to play newer games.
Well, let's see what's in the top 10.
Okay, I guess we'll have to wait and see in a couple more days.
We will.
Check out our top 10 of all time.
That's right.
Because everything we've done from here on out has been garbage. We just had to put them on the list because we needed 50.
Needed filler.
So, but the top 10, that everyone knows that those are the best games. Everything else can just be relegated.
That's
right?
true.
Relegated.
That's true.
That's right. So, yeah. But that's it for now. Those are our 20 through 11?
Yes.
Something like that. Yeah, I got it right.
Yeah, you did. You did.
All right.
Good job.
Yay. All right. Well, until next time, we'll see you around the board.